Hello folks, it's David here. It's day 24. Guess who's coming tonight? Hopefully I've been good enough to warrant a new SD card for my phone, because this one certainly seems as if it's on its last legs, the way it keeps corrupting things. That being said, the fact that I am filming this means that there is going to be some form of content, and my vlogmas challenge is complete. But you didn't want it to just end like this. I do have to make sure that I leave time for a roundup and a final pile of success shot, but I've got one more day of getting stuff off the pile of shame, and I've got 3 targets, and those pointy-eared little sods know exactly who they are. They're going to be the first cab off the rank, and then I am going to continue with Gaunt's ghosts. Yes, we've had a named character, and you've certainly seen a second one. It is time for me to have a look through the box and see which of the named characters that I can actually remember need some work on them and get them sorted. I might even do the big fella himself. Stick around, I'm into it right now. It's time for a quick show and tell. Ignore all the ones that are over on that side, they're not getting done this time. But I have dragged out as many of the named characters as I can quickly find, and we'll see how many of them that I can get done. Now, these ones appear to be fine. These ones have some form of damage. Let's have a quick look to start off with at the ones that have survived. And the greatest survivor of all, that has been in so many scrapes and completed missions by himself, Scout Master McCall. Yeah, I told you, I have, all of these named characters from the books. Who have we got here? Sergeant Egan Sorrick, Axe Rake, Bad Leg, Lost an Eye, and yeah, there's that shell case that caused his downfall. I hope I get this one correct. Was it Commissar Ludd that came in round about the time they joined up with the Belladon? And just from the weaponry, I am picking that this was Major Roan, because it's only officers that would get a pistol in close combat or special characters. Plus there's that starburst tattoo over his eye. That's what picks it for me. I could be wrong. Like I say, it's been an awful long time since I've read the books. Now, some of these I am going to have to quite possibly put the name up top, because I am not 100% certain that I'm going to get it right. So, damage to this one. Yeah, there's stuff around the hand, a little bit around the top of the cloak. After the other ones, I was kind of expecting this. But if you see the back of the head, he's another one of the Major Vervenhivers, and I cannot for the life of me remember who he is, but he suffered head trauma, and he makes it all the way through to the last book. The only one of the ghosts with minesweeping kit, Shoggy Domo. Ezra Apnit, yeah, obviously missing an arm. It's sitting just over there. The rest of him looks pretty good, and yes, this is the original garb from when they first meet him, when they go down to Geryon. Commissar Victor Hark. Bit of work needs done up round his hat, and yeah, he lost an arm, which is why it's got that metallic replacement. And of course, his plasma pistol does give it away. Now, I know this guy was one of the Geryon 12. He's the big flamer guy, and was always bumming low stick, however you pronounce it, LHO, off people. Why on earth did I model that on? But yeah, that was to differentiate between the other flame troopers and this guy, Doc Dorden, the original Tanith medic. There's, with him being a metal miniature, yeah, there's just some touch-ups around sort of like exposed or prominent places. You can see there's paint chipped off around his sleeves and around his bag, so he needs a touch up. Oh, and yes, I appreciate that they've given this miniature a pistol, and he refuses to use them, but I'm relatively certain that there was a short story where he did. Bragg, you've seen before. certainly a fair amount of paint touch-up to be done on him. The Master Sniper, again with these metal models, an awful lot of paint chipping. He's going to need a touch-up, but yeah, yeah, some of the areas are quite bad on him, but nothing that can't be sorted out. Another one of the Gerian 12, Scout McVenna. Obviously the staff needs to be straightened out on him. I'm not 100% certain how I'm going to do that. I think it's just plastic, so I may be able to get away with heating it, but there's a few paint touch-ups to be done on him. Obviously he was one of the, well, the hidden martial artist. Don't ask me to pronounce whatever the hell style it was that he practiced, but staff fighting, and he's got his straight silver strapped to the end of it. Tona Crid, if you're wondering where the garb is from, in, I believe it was the Guns of Tanith when they were on Fantine, she managed to get hold of a flying jacket, and that is why she is in flying leathers. Just a few touch-ups. Again, it's that milliput that has not held the paint and it's rubbed off. Yeah, I think her original stuff was, she was one of the Dark Eldar. That's what I built that up around. And then of course there's Gaunt himself, and there's a fair amount of paint touch-up to be done on him. Alright, I will get through as many of those named characters today as I possibly can. Wish me luck. Oh, and I just remembered, I didn't actually show you a picture of the completed 5 from last night. Here they are. And since we're going to be talking in Sabbath World's Crusade slang, these 3 gacking, pointy-eared little fething fethers can go and feth off and stand next to their brethren and sistren, the little gacks. Alright, you're going to have to excuse me if the sound quality is not that brilliant. I am not bothering to mic up because I just want to get as much done as I possibly can. Alright, we'll go for Ezra first, because that is a glue job. Yeah, the join looks okay there. It looks like I've done the same silly trick that I did with the Dark Eldar in undercoating on the sprue, which is why this one has come away so easily. That's it in place. Oh, okay, excellent. I thought that I was missing a little chip out of the fur on that sort of moth cloak, but it's not. It's actually where the top of the rainbow actually slots into it. Okay, no other paint touch-ups. Alright, Ezra up knit. Once he's dried, is done. Just going to get some Goblin Green out onto the wet palette. Looking back on it, at some stage I may actually replace that hand. It's not exactly feminine, but it'll do from a distance for the time being. Touch that up there, and she's done. Just quickly nash on, and I'll do the green on all the camo cloaks, and I'll check back in if anybody gets completed as a result of it. Alright, I did say I would check back in if any of them were finished off just with the green, and that is the case with a Shoggy Domo. Going to be moving on to the black now, and black is going to be getting used for an awful lot of, I guess, sort of undercoats for hair and tunics and metal where it's rubbed off there, and in some cases it could well just be adding back in sort of camo lines. Okay, I don't think this is going to finish anybody off, but I'll get on with all the black stuff. Alright, I've swapped to Stonewall Grey. Now, yes, Hark's sleeve here. Oh, yeah, that's too dark. Oh, alright, let's see if I can colour match this. It's not too out of place. I've still got to do the trim on that. Okay, the reason why I swapped to the grey was because the uniforms where I've had to redo them, when I originally did them, they started off with a black undercoat and then a grey highlight, and then it was a black wash. Ugh, I've missed a whole swag of uniform unlock in there. That's the thing, that's what I've been finding. It's the damage is kind of so widespread all around that it is difficult to pick up on a lot of the time. Swap the brown here for a wee bit of overbrush on hair and that sort of thing. Tell you what, it actually helps if you use the right brown colour. A wee bit more of a tweak back up. Shite. And you know what? With that, I'm going to call Doc Dorden done. Let's try again with Bragg. Let's get this straight silver reattached. And I can certainly remember what a pain in the backside it was making all of these things. But that's McVenna done. There's a couple of areas I want to knock back with a little bit of black wash. First of all, I'm going to do Try Again's hair. Yeah, that's just brought it back. That's good. Remember Q's uniform. Not Q. Larkin. I did not make Elijah Q model. I don't think. Little feather that he was. Yeah, that's blended that back in nicely. And then it's the two commissar's hats. I'll tell you what, while I've got them here, I'll just quickly swap brushes and do the edging on that cuff. May as well carry on with Hark. Just while I'm thinking about it. Just a wee few odds and ends of gold where that is rubbed away, just on the braiding. One more colour and he's done. A wee bit just down the bottom on the power sword of Hieronymo Zonda. There's a couple of flesh touch-ups to do on some of them, and that's going to need a wee highlight on it as well. But Gol Collier, I remembered his name this time, is almost done. Nose on him. Broston? Bonin? And yeah, Larkin was in quite a bad way. That's looking far more human. Gunmetal. Right, and again, the main stuff was on Larkin here. He does get put through the wars, doesn't he? And then I'll do a full fresh undercoat on the power sword here. Now what I am very quickly going to do is a quick watered down, just a wee bit, flesh wash on the flesh areas that I've just painted back over, and then I'll do a elf flesh highlight on it. Basically just, well, because I know that that's what I did originally, it's essentially just to sort of colour match it and get it to blend. And some of them, certainly on the faces, I've just got to be real careful with what I'm doing, because I don't want to be getting it on their eyes, because I painted all of the eyeballs on these. What on earth was I thinking? Alright, I'm going to take some time out and leave that flesh wash to dry before I carry on with anything else. Alrighty, let us get Hark done and dusted. And the only thing outstanding is the red around his cap. There was just a wee chip there, and I'm not going to try and do the brim that's sort of like under the collar at the back there. And just red that right in. Hark done. Woohoo! 6 so far, okay. And Gaunt himself needed a wee bit of a touch up on red on his cap too. Right, 5 left in this section. Let us break out the elf flesh. Gol Collier, done. Try Again Bragg, done. Quick double check all around, done. Oh, we are cooking with gas. Alright. The final 2, the ones where most had to be redone. Okay, there you go, Larkin, old fella. That's your flesh all sorted. And while I've got you there, let's just have a wee bit of a highlight on that uniform that I had to redo. I tell you what, it is absolutely scorching around here, and my wet palette is not wetting. Just realised he's not done. See the area that's too light on his camo cloak? Locking, done. Now on Bragg's cloak here, I am just redoing that sort of darker tone, and I'm relatively certain it was just using some old green wash. I'll just use that to blend it in. Yeah, that's got to be right. This time, done. And from what I can tell, the only thing left to do is the power sword of Hieronymus Zondar. Right, let's deal with this power sword. Okay, I'm starting off with a white background because I want to sort of play, and that is going all the way up the back, certainly around the tip, and down in a couple of places on the blade, and then I'm going to start filling in some areas on the blade edges itself, and then the same on the other side. Now that does need a little bit of time to dry before the next coat, and this is one really old bottle of Citadel Enchanted Blue. I'm just going to do a line up the back here, and I don't mind too much if it's raggy. In fact, I would prefer it if it is. And then I'm just going to try and pick my way and not go outside the lines of the white. And yeah, I'm happy with the way that's looking. One more coat and we're done. And the very final coat. Let me see if I can just manage to skip inside those blue outlines with a wee bit more white. I am going to call that done. Let's go get some glamour shots. And the Grand Tally Roundup comes to 15 pieces of scenery, 1 gargantuan monster, 5 vehicles, and 41 figures in total, consisting of a Khorne Berserker, 8 Blood Pact, 7 Necrons, 19 Dark Eldar, and 16 of Gaunt's Ghosts. I had so wanted to do more of a montage for this final section, but I am down to the wire. I have got to get this inside and edited. I've got literally hours before it's that night, and there's still tea to cook. Today was last minute grocery shopping. It's that time of the year. It's all go. Look, thank you very much for joining me on this journey. Getting some of that stuff off the pile of shame has been very cathartic, and certainly making a start on some of those projects has been something that has been long outstanding and very much needed. There's going to be a couple more videos coming out in the very near future. Stick around for those, and with all of that now over with, all I can do is wish you a Merry Christmas, and we shall meet soon. Toodle pip for now.